What's up, everybody? You're listening to Obsidian Radio News. I am your host, Mumia Obsidian Ali. It is Thursday, July 13th, 2017. Thanks for listening. I greatly and deeply appreciate that. This is a news story that I've been wanting to do for the longest time and just never got around to it. And as a matter of fact, is the impetus for this all new YouTube channel in the ever expanding Obsidian Media Network universe, Obsidian Radio News. You probably heard this story on the Manosphere news wires, but if you haven't, I want to give a big shout out to MGTOW YouTuber Angry MGTOW. That's where I first got wind of this news story. And then a number of you emailed me the story as well in the following days and weeks. Name of the story is called Childish Men Are to Blame for Women Having Kids Late in Life. That's right, fellas. Spinsters are now blaming, quote, childish men, unquote, for the reason as to why they're spinsters. Only in America could this kind of fuckery even exist. Let's read this story, which comes out of the New York Post, dated May 13th, 2017, and written by Melanie Notkin. She says, I hear the same story told in different ways all over New York City. Excuse me. There's the 34-year-old Kate who works in finance downtown. She's beautiful, smart, talented, everything going for her colleague tells me. But her boyfriend doesn't feel settled in his career, so she spends thousands of dollars to freeze her eggs as she waits for him to be ready. Susan, 41. Let me do that again. Susan, 41. A single senior marketing executive from the Upper East Side is 8 months pregnant. How did that happen? After waiting for her match and not finding him, she decided to have a baby on her own. Because, you know, fatherhood is so important, right? And then there's Joanna from the Upper West Side, who tells me that at age 32, she stepped off the partner track at her law firm, halving, in other words, cutting in half, her salary to work in the firm's marketing department so she could focus on landing a husband. But at the ripe old age of 39, Joanna is still single and childless and unsatisfied in her career. Oh, poor baby. These women aren't alone. The latest U.S. Census fertility report published last week found that for the first time in reported history, over half, read 53.8% of women ages 25 through 29 are childless, and a record 30.8% of American women ages 30 to 34 have not given birth. Most of these women are college educated, and most are single. The census labels childless, college educated women over the age of 35 the delayer boom, as if we gathered together in a collective conspiracy in defiance of motherhood. Wah, wah, wah. The census labels childless, college-educated women over age 35 the delayer boom. I already read that. Others dub this cohort career women, as if we're made the choice between having a family and a career. There are no career men, mind you. Sure there are. Of course there are. Women wouldn't have it any other way. Let's continue. Some blame women for being naive about their fertility, as if we had no monthly reminder of our own ticking clock. The trouble with all this finger pointing is that it leaves out half of the baby making equation, men. So here we go. Here comes the scapegoating. Women want an equal partner, but there are increasingly fewer candidates to choose from. The census reports that the average adult woman in the United States is more likely to be a college graduate than the average adult man. Moreover, today's young childless female city dwellers with college degrees are out-earning their male counterparts by 8 cents on the dollar. The higher incomes may be why they are less likely, 29%, to be living. Let me flip over the page here. One moment. With their parents than single men. So stop right there. See, this is what I'm talking about. And if you listen to my podcast over on my other channel, the Obsidian Media Network 2, here on YouTube, and you heard my podcast, I Will Not Yield, I made the same point. See, it's completely okay for women to scapegoat men as to the reason why they're failures in the mating marketplace. And it gets all kinds of mainstream media coverage, as I'm reading to you right now. But turn the whole thing around, and then all of a sudden men are whining and complaining and being crybabies. Where are the people blaming these women for being whiners and complainers and crybabies? Let me get my echo box here.
Ask the question is to answer it.
Let's continue. If they want a family, single women have to come up with a plan B where a young man with the same socioeconomic status isn't necessarily part of the picture. It's not surprising that in 2012, a Pew Research study found, in a reversal of traditional gender roles, that while 2/3 of millennial women say that being successful in a high-paying career or profession is of high importance to them, only 59% of young men do. At the same time, a significantly larger number of young women than men say that a successful marriage is one of the most important things in life. So for all those people out there who say that, women don't want to get married and all that, read it and weep, bitches. Almost 60% of women rate successful parenting as one of the most important parts of life, while only 47% of young men do, according to Pew. I wonder why. Today's empowered young women are not only placing greater value on the importance of marriage and parenthood than the generation that precedes them, they also value high-paying careers more than ever. And millennial men, they're lagging behind. See, here we go. More scapegoating. And it's completely okay when women do it. But let a blue-collar brother say that, the availability of mates for such brothers suck. And he's whining and complaining, he's being a crybaby and all that nonsense. It's fuckery, I tell you. Fuckery. This shift has caused a seesaw effect. When women are in oversupply, men have an advantage in delayed marriage and parenthood. John Berger, author of Datonomics, How Dating Became a Lopsided Numbers Game, told the Post. For those of you listening, I interviewed John Berger on 2 separate occasions on my live talk radio show, Obsidian Radio Live, heard on the Blog Talk Radio Internet Radio Network. We had the kind of conversation that you'll never see here in the lamestream media. Let's continue. And when men are scarce, women put an even stronger focus on their careers so they can take care of themselves with a financial safety net. There's a caveat with that statement. When women who are otherwise fat, fugly, or old cannot find men, they put up extra focus on their careers. Hot chicks have nothing to worry about. Let's continue. Meanwhile, men take a step back in their career ambition, no longer having to impress an oversupply of women with their financial prowess. That's a good thing. Women can't wait for today's perpetual male adolescence, here we go, to change course. All the shaming language comes out. And they can't bank on finding an equal mate while they're of childbearing age, if ever. If they want a family, single women have to come up with a plan B where a young man with the same socioeconomic status isn't necessarily a part of the picture. For some young college-educated women, an older partner may work. Middle-aged men place a higher value on marriage and parenthood than their younger counterparts do, according to Pew. Berger also advises college-educated women to consider a different cohort of men altogether. If there are too many women in the white-collar dating world, Berger contends, that means there are too many in the blue-collar one. I think it's inevitable that we'll see more and more of what I call mixed-collar marriages in the future. Again, we talked about all of this, and it's a bit too much to get into in my Obsidian Radio News segment, so I'll be talking about this more over on the other channel, so stay tuned. Either way, like Kate and Susan, young women should plan for later age fertility and motherhood now. Egg freezing is an option for those who can afford what can cost $12,000 or more, plus ongoing storage fees and later IVF, in vitro fertilization, albeit with no guarantee of success. As a matter of fact, what a lot of people that work in the fertility clinic industry doesn't want to admit is that there's a lot more failures than successes. Of course, if they said that, then women wouldn't do it. You know, they got to keep making that money. Also, this is going to be part 1 in today's Obsidian Radio News Spinster Bubble segment. I'm going to be talking about an article that was sent by many of you guys into me out of the UK that talks about this as well. So we're going to get to that. Stay tuned. Let's continue. Whatever choice they make, young women should consider their options and move forward. Wait for love, absolutely, but be ready in case love doesn't come in time for motherhood. Melanie Notkin is the author of Otherhood: Modern Women Finding a New Kind of Happiness, and founder of Savvy Auntie. Isn't that nice? That's appropriate terminology for a confirmed spinster, auntie. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, this is the umpteenth article in the lamestream media, cathedral media, the vagina vision media, that blames men for the reason why spinsters be spinsters. It's childish men. It's callow men. No. And see, this is okay. Like I said, over on my podcast, on my other channel, I will not yield. It's perfectly okay for women to blame men as to why they are where they are, failures in the mating market. You just can't do it the other way around. Because if you do, then, you know, you got out comes the shaming language. See, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Women use shaming language on men, and both women and men use shaming language on men when it's the other way around. Even though we have just as much empirical evidence bearing out on the shortcomings and failures and faux pas and flaws of so many American women today. Nevertheless, men are supposed to just overlook that and marry them, you know, fill in the blanks. Well, as the article bears out, more and more men are saying no. We find too many of you American heifers wanting, and we are voting with our feet. Now, the smart thing for a lot of these women to do is to get with the program and do what Roosh talked about. I'm going to put that article in the comment section. The Secret to Landing a Man. He wrote this like 3-4 years ago. And his advice was very simple. 1, spend all of your available free time into improving your appearance. 2, lower your standards. That's it. That's all women have to do. And then they'll get a man. Of course, you know, so many of these American women will, you know, go to hell and back before they do anything like that. So this is the reason why the spinster rate, the national spinster rate, is at an all-time high. There are more unmarried women in the United States today than at any point since our country's founding in 1776. Think about that for a minute. We've had a civil war, 2 world wars, the Korean and Vietnam War, 2 Iraq wars, a war in Afghanistan, plus a depression, a recession, and, you know, just look at it. But the spinster rate was never that high. Now it is. And, you know, of course, because, you know, American heifers be American heifers, they won't look at the facts, let alone the mirror. Although on that point, I can't necessarily say I blame them. But they won't look at the handwriting on the wall and make the necessary and needed adjustments. So we can continue to expect more and more of these pieces to come out in the media. And when they do, yours truly, your correspondent, will be bringing them to you right here on Obsidian Radio News, the voice of the everyday brother. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to bang that notification bell as well. I so greatly and deeply appreciate it. Stay tuned. We're going to come back with another segment of Obsidian Radio News in a moment. Peace.